Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Straight Talk on Social Media. This is Ian Desher from Pivot
You
Group.
will no longer hear the broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. This is Ian Desher from Pivot Group. This is Straight Talk on Social Media. If you can just use your GoToWebinar control panel and let me know that you can hear me all right, that would be great, just to double check and make sure. I'm doing the webinar a little bit differently today, so just want to make sure that everybody can hear me okay. So if you've got me here, okay, it looks like I've got some people saying that they can hear. Okay, that's great. So let's go ahead and get started today with today's session. Um, Starting with the news, if you haven't heard, Twitter is, leading toward the way toward its public offering soon. It's going to be going public. The big news there was that a lot of people were surprised to discover that Twitter, in fact, was not worth as much as everyone thought it was going to be. They don't have nearly the revenue that they thought that they were going to have, and I mean, it's still, they're still hoping to raise billions of dollars, but it's not quite what everyone thought it was going to be. So anyway, it will be interesting to see what happens with Twitter after they do go live, how that affects the choices that they're making around advertising and things like that. So we'll keep you updated as those changes, as we start to see some of those. Some news about Instagram and Pinterest. It was sort of became official recently that Facebook announced that Instagram was going to start having ads. That had been talked about for a long time. And Pinterest also, again, is something that had been talked about for a long time, but sort of became official that they would be moving forward with ads. And so it'll be interesting to see how they roll those out on a few different levels. First of all, sort of who they allow to take advantage of their ads. Are they going to roll it out to everyone, even small businesses, even individuals who would want to run ads, that sort of thing, or will it be the sort of thing that is just for big advertisers? And also, I think the other big question is how are they going to do it and sort of maintain the cool factor that they have with their sites right now without turning off a lot of people who don't want to see, ad content popping up in their Instagram feed or their Pinterest feed. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that, and we'll have more news on that when we know more. The A court did rule that Facebook likes are protected speech. This was a case that I've mentioned before, where basically some employees of a particular company liked a particular politician, and therefore were fired. I think it was employees of a sheriff's office, so they were actually, they actually liked a competing opponent, and then were fired, and they sued, and so it turns out that Facebook likes are in fact protected speech. They do constitute part of your First Amendment rights. So it's interesting to see how that all played out and how social media was being discussed in the courts. Speaking of Facebook, this news is from just this morning. They have taken away the option to hide yourself from the public search in Facebook. So I think this is sort of silly for Facebook to take away this option because, again, it's a step in the wrong direction for them in terms of privacy. Their argument was that it was too confusing for people to understand really what that meant. But one commentator I saw, said even if only 1% of their users were using that feature, that's still 12 million people who or no, I'm sorry. I think that's even if like 0.1%, then that's still 12 million people who were using that option. So, I don't think it was a great move for them. I'm not sure what the real thinking was behind it. It's hard for me to believe that it has to do with confusion. But anyway, now you can, regardless of who you are, if you're on Facebook, people can search for you within Facebook and find you. Speaking of Facebook, again, they have revamped how they've done some of their ads, uh, how they're doing their ad setup and ad buying, and also how they've done their page insights. They've introduced all sorts of new tools for page insights. And I've got this silly graphic here of Mario saying "See you next time" because, in fact, this is what I'll be doing my webinar on in November. Is the sort of looking again at Facebook ads. It seems like every year or so, I need to do a webinar on Facebook ads to see what's changed. And also looking again at Facebook Insights, it's something that we've looked at before in this webinar, but now that things have changed significantly, to give you a review of those. So that'll be happening on the next webinar in about a month. So now moving into the focus topic, this is Straight Talk on 15 promotion ideas. And so the reason behind this is that Facebook just recently changed its rules, and I'm going to review that really quickly just in case anybody doesn't know about it yet or has missed the news. And then I'll launch into the promotion ideas. Because Facebook has relaxed their rules about contests and promotions, we at Pivot sort of started coming up with a bunch of different, just easy, simple promotion ideas, things that you can do with the relaxed requirements. And so I want to just give those to you as just sort of a way to help you start brainstorming. Obviously, you can use these ideas if you want to, but they also might help you spark other ideas. So just a quick review of the new Facebook contest rules. Basically now promotions on Facebook have to include a complete release of Facebook by the entrant or participant, acknowledgement that a promotion is no way sponsored, endorsed, or administered by or associated with Facebook. But beyond that, then promotions can be run through your Facebook page. So you can gather likes to collect votes. You can have people enter by writing something on your timeline. It's no longer a problem where people are not able to people are not able to run promotions right on their timeline. It used to be that you had to use a third-party solution, so a special tab within your Facebook page where you'd be pulling in content from another site. They've done away with that restriction, and if you've been on this webinar before, you've heard me say this, but just wanted to review in case anybody didn't know that, because it is important news, I think. And so the most important difference is, again, there's no third-party requirement for you to have some other company administering the site through your Facebook, the contest through your Facebook page. The timeline is now the home for contests, so it's the place where you get to run everything, and so you can do it right there without having people click over to somewhere else. Likes can be used to count votes, as I said a minute ago, and you can collect entries via posts on your timeline or by having people message you through the page. So those are all important differences to know about these new Facebook contest rules. And so now just jumping into 15 promotion ideas. And I won't give a lot of time to any one of these because it's obviously a lot to go through. But again, just wanted to offer you some ideas to spur your own thinking on things you might do for promotions. So first of all, a photo video contest. One thing I like about this idea is that anything that gets your users, your likers, your customers generating content for you is really helpful, because then you don't have to sort of be constantly worrying about, okay, what am I going to come up with next? If you have people sending you pictures of the local area, or it could be of them using your product or service in some way, so you could put some restrictions on it. Yes, it can be a photo or it can be a video, but it has to show you using our internet service, or it has to show you, using our new product, or whatever it is. Those can be good ways to do it so that it's relating to your product or service. But then you've got these pictures. You can post them one at a time. Then you can post them in an album and say whichever picture gets the most likes, that's the one that's going to win the contest. And again, with Facebook's new rules, that is now something that you're able to do and have it be okay by Facebook. Number two, a scavenger hunt. So this is a screenshot I found of a scavenger hunt that was done through Facebook and leading to tickets for a Lady Gaga concert. So you may not be giving away such a cherished prize as that, but the idea is basically, and this works very well for especially for clients of ours who are local businesses and work within particular towns or set of towns, where you can say, uh, we've hidden a handful of things, or just go out and find, somewhere in town, there's a building that was founded in 1931, and it has this Latin inscription on it. Go there, find that building, take a picture of it, take a picture of the cornerstone, and post it to our page. And basically, you're giving people a handful of things to find, or one really hard thing to find, and whoever finds it first wins the prize. I've also seen versions of this where it's basically like, first person to come to our store and say yabba dabba doo, will win this prize. That's a sort of different version of the scavenger hunt, but it's a similar sort of idea. So that's a fun way to engage with customers. It can get them out and about within your community, having some fun. Uh, Really a fun sort of thing to do, and the pictures that can come in from that, especially if anybody's, if you're encouraging people to work in teams or anything like that, people can really have a fun time with it, and it can be a lot of good engagement for your page. Number three is a similar idea to a scavenger hunt. This is a sort of Where's Waldo idea. If you remember these books that were really popular in the 90s, they're still somewhat popular now. But Where's Waldo were these great books where there were all these, this complicated scene, and you had to find Waldo somewhere within that scene. I should have found Waldo in this picture so that I could circle him for you, before I did this webinar. If I'm looking correctly, I think that might be him right there. But anyway, the point is, um, the idea behind this contest is basically you're hiding one particular thing, or there's some sort of character that you have. And it doesn't need to be Waldo. There are copyright issues there and usage issues there. But some sort of character who you've created around your product or service, who's going to pop up at various places, around the town. And if people, say that they had a spotting of your character, or if they found the one thing that you had hidden, then there's some sort of prize or discount or something like that offered to them. So again, it's similar to the scavenger hunt, but it's just a fun way to engage with people, let them have some fun with your brand, show some personality, particularly if this character that you are introducing is related maybe to a new product or service somehow, or something like that. Number four, this was an idea that Nicole McDougall, our marketing coordinator in our office, had, and I thought it was just a really great idea. And the idea here is that you try to get people to refer new likers to your page. So basically, you say to your likers, "Hey, go and ask your friends to come and like our page. When they like our page, have them post your name on the wall, on the timeline, and then whoever refers the most likers, whoever gets the most number of people to come and like our page, then that person and their friends maybe get a party thrown for them, right? So or something like that. So either it's that the individual themselves wins some sort of big prize, or it's that them and their friends, get to enjoy some sort of either a shared discount, or maybe you're throwing them a party, or you're giving them all tickets to a local sporting event or something like that. This is I think could be a really, really powerful way. The prize has to be right, and it has to be a sort of fun sort of thing, but a really fun way to get people to drive likers to your page. I think key with this idea would be, with any campaign where you are pushing to get a bunch of new likers, I think the trick there is to make sure you have a follow-up plan to, okay, all these people who didn't like us before have now liked us. What are we going to do to keep up with them, engage their interest, make sure that they are staying involved with us? So anyway, so refer the most liker campaign be something where you're getting the benefit of the people who already like you, reaching out to their networks of friends and encouraging them to come and like. And it just could be a really powerful way to gain a new audience. Number five is a caption contest. So the idea here, maybe you've seen this. There are a handful of fun Facebook pages out there that will sometimes post a photo that's a kind of a random photo that suggests some sort of funny thing that's going on here, and they'll have a caption contest and say, basically, write a caption for this photo, and then of all the captions that are entered, people can go back and like those captions, and the one that has the most likes then ends up being the winner of the caption contest. So this picture that I found here is just, I did a Google image search for caption contest, and this is one of the pictures that came up, and I thought to myself, yeah, this is something you could write a whole bunch of different captions for that could be fun and funny. So that's the idea. You just pick some sort of, basically random picture that already suggests something a little funny, a little odd, a little quirky, and then you post it and say we're having a caption contest. Person who comes up with the caption that gets the most likes, and you can always say, it needs to be a clean caption. It needs to be G-rated, but but that person then, who gets the most likes, wins the contest. So again, a fun way to do something where you're engaging with a post on your wall. You'll get great engagement with that post, because people want to win something, but also because people have fun with something like this. Number six, similar, is a naming contest. So if you have a new product or service that you are coming up with, uh, you know, don't necessarily rack your heads trying to come up with something to call that new product or service or a new character or whatever it is. Uh, let your customers do it for you. Let them come up with a good name. And this could be something where it doesn't need to be the name that gets the most likes wins, because you want to make sure you end up with a name that you're really happy with. So really, it would be something where people submit names, and then you take it back into your marketing committee or your administration, whoever it is, and uh, you can do one of two ways. You either pick a winner, and that person wins, or you could pick your top three favorite and then put it back out to your customers and say, okay, here are the three names that we liked best, and then let it go ahead and be a matter of voting. So you pick three names, any of which you'd be happy with, and then you send it out to them and say, uh, whoever ends up with the most votes will be the one that actually gets the name. In a naming contest, often you really don't need to have much of a contest here. You can see in this particular contest that I found, they're giving away an iPod Nano, which is really a very inexpensive prize to give away. Often with a naming contest, the bragging rights alone are enough to be sufficient in terms of a prize. So just know that that's the case with a naming contest. Local business voting. So this is one I think you'd have to tread a little bit carefully with, but I think it's an interesting idea. The idea is basically, you have, again, if you're in a local town based in a local area, you can have uh, you can use your page as sort of a town center where people can come in and vote for what their favorite local business is in the area. And you can do it again. You can do that in a couple ways. You can do it by just soliciting the name of any business out there and seeing what gets the most votes, or you can actually partner with some different businesses and say, "Hey, we're going to do this fun contest where we're going to ask people to pick their favorite local business." And so you end up with, maybe it's 5 or 6 or 10, local businesses that are part of this contest, and there's maybe some good natured ribbing that goes back and forth. Maybe some discounts are being thrown out to these places. Um, but the idea is that in the end there's going to be sort of one local business that emerges as the favorite. Now I say you have to be careful with this one because you don't want to offend anyone, you don't want to upset anyone. That's why I think the version where you sort of get local businesses buy-in beforehand, say, do you want to be part of this contest? This could be a fun thing to do in our area. Might be sort of the smarter route to go there than just opening it up for people to vote for any business in the area without those businesses' knowledge, if that makes sense. Number eight is a trivia contest. If you've played any Trivial Pursuit in your life, you probably recognize this picture that I'm showing you. Uh, Trivia contest is very simple. This is actually the most common type of contest or promotion that we've helped our clients run when we've done some of these. When Facebook used to require third-party apps, we did some of those for clients, and trivia contest was the most common. It's easy to find trivia questions that are related to your company, even if they're not. I generally recommend they're not necessarily about your company specifically, unless you have some interesting things that you want to share or want people to know. But the idea is you find some fun and interesting questions, and see what people can come up with. There are different ways of doing a trivia contest. Different sort of mindsets about it. One mindset is it doesn't really matter if people get the question or questions right or not. You just have to participate to be entered. And some people then on the flip side of that, will pick their uh, winner only from people who have actually guessed the answers correctly. So uh, either way, can work. The way I've also seen this done in social media, which now with the relaxed rules with Facebook's contests and promotions, is that this can be like a trivia question of the week, where you're not having to, again, not having to deal with a third party issue. So it's just something you could post on your wall on your timeline once a week. Here's a trivia question of the week, and then of course you're dealing with smaller prizes than you might be with a trivia contest that lasts, for a few months and has multiple questions, that sort of thing. But again, trivia question of the week is the sort of thing where you're going to get people coming back again and again because they want to, they always want to participate in that. They know it's coming up. Just to give you an example, which is actually going to relate to one of my later ideas. We have a I'm on a mailing list for a website called Music Connection, and every week they have what they call their Friday freebie, where basically you can enter to win a free piece of music equipment every Friday, and it's from partners that they've worked with, and so it could be like a microphone from a company or something like that, and so every week I look forward to that email to see what it is that they're giving away that week, and I probably enter to win about half the time. About half the time it's something that I'm not going to be able to use. I have never yet won, but I keep going back. So anyway, uh, number 9 is an interesting idea. It's similar to the refer a liker idea, except the difference here is that you are actually asking people to share the page instead of having people come and like it. There's different schools of thoughts out there. As we start to look at social media metrics and return on investment, it is looking like the number of people sharing your content actually may be a better indicator of your social media presence and how you're doing than the number of likers that you have overall. So this contest is sort of going on that idea of what you really want is for people to be sharing information about your page with others. And so the idea is, if somebody shares your page on their timeline and says something about you, and then they are entered to win something, or that they just get something free in this idea. So basically, we'll give a $20 discount to anybody who shares our page right now, or we'll give you half price on this new product when if you share our page. So it's an easy way to sort of give a benefit to your Facebook audience, when all they have to do is share. They don't even have to necessarily draw people to your page. All you're saying is, hey, broadcast our name out to your friend list, and we'll give you something for free. Again, always going with that idea that it's always nice to give members of your Facebook community some sort of benefit for being a liker. Number 10, prize of the month / week. So the idea here is that there is, this is actually very much like the Friday freebie, except you're doing it through Facebook. And it's and I sort of mentioned this idea with a trivia question once a week. Basically, every month or week you're going to give away something, and you have to find some sort of criteria for doing it. Maybe is it the first person to respond to this post, or is it the first person to again sort of go into one of our stores and say something silly, or whatever it is. But the idea, the main part of this idea is that it's the once a week or once a month idea. And if you do that and keep up with it, you're going to get a you know a reliable number of people coming back to you again and again, wanting to see what you're going to give away this month, this week. People always like to get a deal or a prize, and it's one thing to have an occasional contest where if people happen to be paying attention, they'll see it. It's a very different thing to have a weekly thing where you're giving something away, because then people are going to come to expect that. They're going to come to enjoy it, so they're going to be looking at your page more and more, looking for that prize that you're giving away. One idea that Katie Goodell in our office had was sort of doing one of these old-fashioned ones that we all loved as kids. Well, what's different about this image sort of contest, right? So you put out a couple of different images, or you could even put out a few different images over time that all are similar but have something different about them, and ask people to point out what the differences are. And maybe it's the first person to spot all 10 differences, or maybe it's the first person to spot the one difference that there is, or whatever it is. But it could just be a fun way. I think what is sort of charming to me about this idea is that it is sort of nostalgic. I think people would get into it because there is sort of this feeling of like, oh, I remember when I used to do these as a kid. So a fun idea for a contest. Number 12, a matching game. Now, uh, I heard matching game at first, and I sort of thought to myself, oh, this sounds like that memory game that we all played as a kid, where you lift up a card and see what's on that card, and then try to remember where that card was and find matches. But the idea here actually is that you could do some matching up with ways for people to get to know your company better. So the idea here is like here's a list of five of our employees and five of the pets that they have. And so match up the employee with their pet. It's like, well, okay, I know that Lori has a Labrador, and I maybe Joe has a chinchilla. I don't know. So it's a sort of a fun way of helping people get to know your company better, showing some of your company personality. It doesn't have to be matching up employees with their pets. It could be matching up, uh, you know, uh, moments in the company's history with moments in history overall. When did we first release this? Was it the year that the Berlin Wall came down, or was it the year that Ronald Reagan was elected president? That sort of thing. So again, just doing some of those matching sort of ideas, but doing it in a way that it's helping people to learn a little bit more about your company. A really fun contest, I think, would be a sort of write the ending kind of idea here. And we saw some of this, a little bit of this, with Super Bowl commercials actually last year, where there were companies who would create sort of 20 seconds of a 30-second commercial, and then I think there was one company who actually asked their viewers to write an ending for it. There was another company that had a couple of different endings that they were letting people vote on, before they aired the commercial at the Super Bowl. But the idea is, you put out a story, you start a story, get the characters going and everything, but then you leave the ending open, and then you let somebody come in and you let people come in and write the ending to the story. And it could be a story that, again, sort of somehow involves your products or services, that sort of thing. Um, but then people write these creative endings to them, and then again, it's a case where the person whose story ending gets the most likes, wins. I think it could be a really fun way to engage people. Let them sort of, have fun writing something fun about your products. Number 14, spread the love or gratitude. So the idea here is that you ask people, hey, please uh, come and post on our timeline the name and the story behind somebody who has really influenced you, or somebody who you'd really like to say thank you to. Or if it's, maybe it's around Valentine's Day and it's the person that who's your sweetheart, and why do you love them? And you pick one of those stories, or depending on how you do it, maybe everybody who does it wins. But maybe if it's around Valentine's Day, that person's sweetheart then gets roses delivered from your company, the person who wins. Or maybe it's that everybody is sent a little love note from your company who enters, or something like that. But the idea is sort of spreading good feelings of gratitude or love, through your page, and then doing something to sort of uh, you know, reward those people for sharing their feelings online. And the last one that I have is, well, what do you know? It's Pivot's Picket Bowl Challenge. Yes, of course, this is a little plug for our Picket Challenge, but it is also a great way to interact with people through social media. And what I mean by with social media lead in here is that one way to do it is to only allow people to enter through a link found on your Facebook page. So they'd actually have to come to your Facebook page, and actually you could even do it. This would require some third-party programming, but you could even make it so that somebody would have to like your page to enter the Picket Challenge. So we have had that client do that before as well. Um, but the nice thing about Picket, and if you don't know what it is, it's a contest that we have where your customers can pick the winners of the different bowl football, college football bowl games that happen in December and January, and then there's you know they get points based on their answers, and which bowl game it is and that sort of thing. And it's a really fun way over a handful of weeks to engage with people. Get to say, hey, so and so's in the lead, and but somebody else is just behind them, and we've still got 3 weeks to go, or whatever. Really fun way to engage with your customers, and really just made for social media, honestly. So if you are interested in that, I believe there's Katie's email address. Katie Goodell is in charge of that. So Katie at AskPivot.com if that's something that you are interested in doing. A question just came in about that. Let me take a look at that. Do you feel that you always have to give out a prize to run a contest? Are there any statistics out there to measure if a contest is successful or not? That's a great question. Uh, you don't always have to give out a prize to run a contest, but I think if you are not going to give out a prize, it needs to be a contest that is already fun in itself. So there's already a reason for people to participate in itself. Like I'm not sure that a like something like a trivia contest is sort of borderline. Would people want to engage with that if there was nothing they could win? Certainly like a refer a likers sort of program. You're probably not going to get people to participate in that unless you are offering a prize. Or certainly, if you do offer a prize, you're going to get a much better engagement. In terms of statistics on how to measure if a contest is successful or not, um, you know, I think uh, I think on one hand there is some, it's a little bit based on how many people are engaging with your contest, what you're seeing in terms of the number of likers. You might set yourself the goal of, hey, by the end of this promotion, we want to have 100 new likers on our Facebook page, and then you can see if you set that goal. I think it's always great to set measurable goals like that. You can also, I mean, depending on what it is, if you set up a contest in such a way that you are giving people a discount on a new service that you're offering, uh, and you're giving them a discount code that is specific to the contest. So thank you for sharing information about our page on your to your friends. Here's your code. Your code is Facebook 20, and with that code, you can call our customer service people, and they will give you 20% off of our new product. And then you could be then you can measure the number of people who are actually calling in and using that code, and that I think is a very measurable way to do it. So there are ways to work in you know means of measuring your ROI into contest, if that makes sense. And I'd be happy to talk with you more about that afterward. So anyway, there it is. If you want to see the full list, there are all 15, and these slides will be available on our Facebook page shortly after the webinar. That's all I have for today. Thanks for sticking with me to the end here. Um, my next webinar, as I mentioned, Friday, November 8th, will be on Facebook ads and Page Insights, sort of an update to both of those topics to keep you abreast of the latest developments. For our telecommunications clients, Dave Neustrauten's next Straight Talk on Telco Marketing webinar will be Wednesday, October 30th at 11 Pacific time. Thank you all again so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful weekend. Remember to keep your media social and your talk straight.